Shrapnel.
Hello, Craig.
Hello, Tobias. How are you today?
I'm not doing too badly. How are you, sir?
Fantastic, fantastic.
And welcome everyone to the Film Shrapnel Weekly Roundup, or working title.
It might end up being more of a monthly thing. We'll see. We'll see.
Oh, we'll see. But today it's definitely just about the last week because I haven't prepared anything for the last month, so it's definitely in the last week for me.
Yeah, me too, actually.
So yeah, welcome one and all. Today we're doing something a little bit different. Me and Craig don't know what we're going to be talking about today. All we know is that we're going to say we're going to talk about one thing we've been enjoying in the last week and one thing we've disliked in the last week. I think this could be quite interesting, Craig.
And also, third thing, something we'd like to see more of.
Oh, I didn't write that down. Shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay.
All right.
You're forgiven.
I'll think on that. I'm sure I'll come up with something in the moment. All right. Well, who's going to start? Who's going to start? Because I really don't know. I really don't know. Like, you don't know what I'm going to talk about. I don't know what you're going to talk about. So, do you want to break cover first, or do you want me to break cover?
I don't mind. I can go first. I'm trying to find it. Pardon me.
Should we do what we like first, and then we go into what we don't like? All right.
Okay. Which you want to go first, or shall I?
I really don't mind. I don't mind if you want to break cover.
Okay, I'll go first. I warn you that I haven't written any of this down. I know which ones I'm talking about, but I haven't written any notes for them.
Thank you for the warning.
So, I recently just finished watching the third season of Succession. Have you seen it, Tobias?
I have not. What is Succession?
Succession is basically, it's kind of like, kind of based on the Murdoch family, the Rupert Murdoch's family and his kind of like media empire.
Right.
And basically, his character based on him is played by what's his name? Cox, last name Cox, Stephen Cox. Brian Cox. And basically, he's quite old. He's in his 80s. He has some health scares, and he has these 4 children, well, adult children. And basically, it's kind of like who's going to take over this huge media empire. And it's supposed to be a dark comedy, but it's quite serious. And you'll never guess who created this show.
Go on.
You like
Vince
Peep Show,
Gilligan.
right?
Yeah, I love Peep Show.
Yeah, one of the creators of Peep Show created this show, and it's massive now in America.
All right.
And it's got a really good cast. I can't remember everybody who's in it. Macaulay Culkin's brother, Kieran Culkin, is one of the main characters. He's a really good actor, by the way. I didn't even know that Macaulay Culkin had brothers until I watched the show.
Oh, loads and loads.
Yeah.
And there's Rory McCulkin, who was in the Scream 4, and there's Kieran Culkin, who was also in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It's a very acty family.
Yeah, I had no idea until I started watching this. But the main, the real stuff really goes to Brian Cox and also the other guy. I forgot his name. Something Strong. He was in The Big Short. That's the main thing.
Mark Strong.
He's very good, and like it's wicked. It's wicked. Sometimes it's really funny. Sometimes it's very brutal. I would super recommend it. Like especially like the ending of the first season quite shocked me because something fucked up happens. I know we usually say we don't give a shit about spoilers. We'll just rip it out there, but I'm not going to now because this is three seasons of a TV show. I'm not going to spoil that.
I'm definitely going to go into spoilers when I have a go. So like, I want to know what you like about it.
Yeah, okay, all right. I'll tell you straight up.
I want to know. I want you to sell it to me, man. I want to watch it too.
So the three kids that I really have the chance of being the successor to Brian Cox's character are his second oldest son, played by Mark Strong, if that is his name. Because there are a few guys called Strong. I hope I'm getting his name right. It's a bit embarrassing that I'm getting it wrong if I am.
Write notes.
Yeah, I should do. He's very business savvy, but he's a bit. His father thinks he's a bit weak, and he also has a big problem of addiction. He's always like, actually, he does really well at the beginning of the show. Then all of a sudden, some shit happens in the first season, and he starts doing drugs again. Kieran Culkin's character is like this really. Sometimes he's a bit annoying. I'll tell you this. At one point, he does accidentally send a dick pic to his dad, and it's really funny. It's really
Nice.
fucking like, oh shit.
We've all been there.
Yeah. So he's he's a bit more like a bit politically right, I guess, and he's quite an asshole. Sometimes he does seem to have some emotion, but I think he has struggles. There's one episode where there's like a family therapy thing, and he looks like he really wants to do it, but no one else is really trying.
Yeah.
And he's always just laughing at everything. He never takes anything seriously. And the third child is played by an actress called Sarah Snook, who I have never heard of before until this show.
No.
She's Australian, and she basically is probably the smartest of them. She's also the youngest, and she is quite. She's very politically left, and she kind of wants to redo everything. She has the most chance, I think. She's kind of the favorite of the father, but they clash a lot on many things, and they're all of them are a bit big-headed in their own ways, you know. And it's very they deal with really big themes in the show. So yeah, I totally recommend it. Totally recommend.
Succession.
Succession. By the way, just so you know, I timed that for 5 minutes and I had 16 seconds left. So
nicely done.
We could try and keep to 5 if you want.
All right, let's keep to 5. Let's keep to 5. So it's my turn now.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch this Succession. All right. Let's talk about what I've been watching that I liked. Although I'm a little bit embarrassed that I liked it. I've been watching a biopic drama. Well, not. I've been watching like a docudrama called Welcome to Wrexham, and it's about how Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney have bought Wrexham Football Club. Now, when I started putting it on, I was really hoping that it would be like this really gritty football drama, even though I know it's reality TV. And unfortunately, this is the problem. It's very obviously, it's like the worst kind of directed reality TV. I'm finding it a struggle to get through, but because it's football and because it's Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, two people that I do quite like, especially Rob McElhenney.
Wait a minute. He's the guy who made It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
The way you pronounce his name, I don't know if that's correct. I always was pronouncing it differently in my head, but I never said it out loud, so I don't know if it's correct.
It's either McElhenney or McElhenney, so one or the other. And this is it's a bad. I would say it's good cinematography, but it's badly made. Like, it doesn't feel real. Like I say, it's the worst kind of directed reality. However, having said all this, and Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds, they do a feature in it, but not as prominently as you'd like them to. They really feature, like, you know, the players at the club, the manager, the people that support Wrexham. You know, they do a lot of stuff about Wales as well, which is nice. So there is this sort of earnestness with the way Wales and Britain are displayed. You know, it's very heartfelt in a lot of places. Like, I signed to Wrexham so I could be closer to my family. Like, you know, stuff like that. It's there's a lot of heartfelt moments. There's I think it's in the first 2 episodes, one or the other. One of the first or the second episode where Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds basically say to the club, although by default, because they're not actually there to speak to them, but they've basically sent the message like, okay, finish the season and hopefully you guys can work your way up. And if you can, we won't sell anyone. And obviously they don't go up. So they end up selling a couple of players. One player's like really sad that he's having to leave and all this stuff. So yeah, there's this interesting, because obviously being from Britain, I know when a group of lads are just laughing at someone, you know. So if you're American, in the room when everyone's just sort of like, all right, mate, jog on. And then you might think, oh, that went well. But we know as British people, no, that didn't go down great. That didn't go down great with the boys.
Can I ask, why
Mm-hmm.
did they buy this football team?
Well, in the first episode, they basically, like Rob McElhenney sort of going like, because in American sport, as far as I'm aware, there is no tier system. So there is, you have one league, whereas British football, you have loads and loads of leagues. So you've got the Premier League, and then you've got the Championship, then League One, then League Two, and then you've got like the National League, and then below that, you've got all of the other football leagues that are like amateur professional. But you've got like 5 or 6 tiers of professional football. Now, Wrexham are a club in the top tier of amateur football. And if they can win, they're going to go into the professional leagues. Now, it sounds from the first episode that this is more of just like an experiment for Rob and Ryan, although obviously they're seeing it in it's an investment for them, surely. Like, they've had a look at sport and they're like, you can actually make massive money if you buy a team at the bottom and then invest in them and work them all the way to the top. You can make a fortune. And I think that's basically what they're doing. They haven't said it in so many words, but if you look at Man City, like the moment they get big money, now they're at the top of the league, and I don't think you would be hard pressed to find anyone who would bet against them. Oh, sorry. Hang on, I've worded that wrong. But this is the thing, Man City, they're always going to win now because they got that investment and they've worked their way up, and now they're just at the top, and they're the team to beat. So I think that's essentially what they want to do with Wrexham. They want to put their money in, their movie star, television
You're over
star
your
money.
5 minutes.
All right. Well, all right. We'll cut me off there. But yeah,
give me a summary. I'll let you have a nice summary.
So, all right. So my summary is it's heartfelt. So I do have this sort of, I want to see Wrexham win. I'm starting to support the team, which I like. I love an underdog story, but what I'm basically saying with the Man City thing is that it's not really an underdog story anymore. Once that money comes in, are they really an underdog? Like I think in the second episode, they buy a striker that should be a League One striker. And instead of going to League One, he drops a division for the money and to be closer to his family. So they've got an amazing striker that should be playing 2 divisions higher. So there's a big dilemma in the club, and it's something that I've been enjoying watching it grow. But at the same time, there is this reality TV bollocks that I hate. I think all of the Rob and Ryan stuff feels very forced. They don't even look like they want to be. Ryan Reynolds doesn't look like he wants to be there. Funnily enough, it's his money. He looks like he's more interested in doing something else. But there you go. That's my take. I don't love it, but I have been enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to more episodes.
And what's that called again?
It's called Welcome to Wrexham.
Okay. I'm really surprised I haven't heard of this.
You not heard the story of how they bought Wrexham Football Club? It happened I think it happened like a season ago. It's been a while. They've been owners of the club for a while now.
Oh, by the way, I checked the Succession cast. It wasn't Mark Strong. It's Jeremy Strong.
Jeremy Strong. I'm not sure.
I think if you saw a picture of him, you'd recognize him. He's been in like a few supporting roles here and there in different things, and now he's like, I think this is his chance for a main role.
Oh, I'll look him up. I probably would recognize him. I'm away from the computer right now. Otherwise, I'd look him up now. Yeah. Unless you want to send it to me on Facebook, and I'll have a look now for the pod.
I will. In the meantime, who's going to talk about what they hate the most first?
I mean, you go for it. Let's stagger it out. You can take this one. All right, here's Jeremy Strong. Hang on. Let me find out if I know Jeremy Strong.
You'll recognize him. I'm pretty sure you will.
You just sent me his name. I thought you were going to send me a picture.
Oh, no.
I know his name. Oh, dear.
Hold on. There you go.
All right, let's have fucking hell. What a massive URL.
I know.
URL.
I'm using Edge because I typed in for a timer on my laptop and it opened up Edge, and now I have Edge open, and it's
Okay.
embarrassing. You know what
Well,
else is really embarrassing?
I know you've
Bing.
said. Yeah, I was just going to say it's a Bing link. That's why it's so.
Yeah, Bing has confused Brian Cox with Brian Cox. So now I
Oh,
see
I'm
in the
sure.
results, Brian Cox, the physicist, is
Yeah.
sitting alongside Brian Cox, the actor. They're both starring in this show. Come on,
Professor
Bing.
Brian Cox.
Google
Well,
wouldn't make this mistake.
I would. Yeah. Well, no, absolutely not. But yeah, I do recognize him. I do recognize him. You're quite
Yeah,
right. I'm just not sure from what.
yeah. Should I release my hate now?
Unleash the fury.
Here we go.
What are you
Okay,
talking about, Craig?
I'm talking about Jurassic World Dominion.
Or what a
Uh,
choice.
this came out this year, and I'm so fucking disappointed in it because, like, I love Jurassic Park movies. Like, I really think back to my childhood. Like, well, I remember being about 5, watching Jurassic Park the first time, eating like candy from this huge coronation box thing, whatever. And like, I even remember them putting their hands in the shit. Laura
Mm,
Dern's character and all this kind of stuff. I have I have emotional memories attached to this film, and like
absolutely.
I also quite like the second one. Actually, by the way, sometimes I like the second one more than the first. I actually quite like Jeff Goldblum in it.
I
The
mean,
third film,
bold
meh.
statement.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know. I think it's. I don't. Maybe there is something there, some deeper meaning I haven't figured out. Anyway, so the last 3 films, they have been a bit stupid to say the least. And some
Oh
people are
yeah.
saying that this last one, Dominion, is the best of the recent trilogy. And I'm like, what the fuck are you
Really?
talking about? Yeah, look at the reviews on Wikipedia. And I'm really surprised because you've been building this up for like the last 3 films. The point where we get to when the dinosaurs are living among us, right?
Mm.
That's why it's Jurassic World and not Jurassic
Flint,
Park. We've
Flintstone style.
yeah, we've moved past this and now in the world. And this film, like in the second film, finally the dinosaurs are living amongst us. We're accepting this fact. This is a new reality. We live in a world of humans and dinosaurs. The third film, it feels like they had the perfect opportunity to really explore that, and they just didn't fucking do it. I'm like, come
Yeah.
on, what the fuck? And then the whole story is about this girl. I think her name is Charlotte, who has been cloned. Basically, her mother, who is her clone, gave birth to her. She had some disease. She was going to die. And there's all this stuff going on about this. And there's a huge thing about locusts. They've genetically modified locusts to make them huge, like prehistoric times or whatever. And they're going to destroy all the food. And like, what the fuck does this have to do with the fucking dinosaurs? And then
Mm.
uh, finally, when it starts getting actiony, um, it finally gets to its place in Italy, in the Dolomites in northern Italy. And basically, they have another Jurassic Park there. And it's like, so we basically went from one park to another park when you could have done this anywhere, man. You had the whole open world and you just didn't do it. Like, and I'm just so annoyed. And there's just so much going on at the beginning. I was like, where the fuck are the dinosaurs? I want to see dinosaurs fucking shit up, and
Mm.
it just doesn't happen. And yeah, and it's very. It feels funny to say this because this is like an action adventure kind of thing. It always has been. It's Jurassic Park, but it feels very style over substance,
I,
and
I've seen it. I agree with you.
but in the worst like way. Like why are we watching them live in the middle of like Idaho or somewhere where it's freezing cold? By the way, that's another thing I have problems with. We see dinosaurs so many times in freezing places. Like I'm just thinking, no, man, they
Mm.
don't. I don't think they'd be. I don't think they could survive out there in the icy wild. I don't think so. I don't think they'll be there. But maybe that's the point. Maybe that's why they're being saved. I did like though that he did have some of the dinosaurs with the feathers, like
Mm.
showing the progression into like bird and everything. That was kind of interesting, but on the whole, I just thought it was really stupid. They brought back the older cast, and I don't know what I think about that.
I know what I
Uh,
think about it, but I'll let you finish your 5 before I
well,
get into it.
I'll tell you that I did like Laura Dern a bit more than the other guys. There was some references to
Wow.
Jeff Goldblum having his shirt open, But there was some other characters that I thought were a bit stupid. Like there's this one smuggler character. Um, she basically was like, she has a whole story about being in the army. She smuggled the kid into Malta. And like, I just didn't feel she was I just didn't feel this is a real character. It just felt
Yeah.
like a very shoehorned character that was needed to do something. It's also very glossy. She's very attractive, but she just didn't feel like if you were a hardened criminal, a smuggler, I just feel that you should look like you've done some hard shit. She just looked too, I don't know,
You,
it was funny, but she just
you
looked
need
too
to look
good.
like Post Malone.
You need to look like you've beaten the shit out of a dinosaur to have done this. But yeah, that's my 5 minutes on that.
To be fair, I don't think Jeff Goldblum looks like he's beat up a dinosaur.
No, but he's supposed to be a chaos
flashed
theory
his
guy.
chest at one.
Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, I think it's interesting that you brought up Jurassic World Dominion, because I actually watched this not too long ago. I streamed it and it was filmed in the cinema, so I thought, but I don't really want to go watch it, blah blah blah. So I just watched it, and it's funny you mentioned, because like my biggest problem, if I'm perfectly honest, was the legacy characters. When you bring back all of these characters that I remember from the first film, because I think the first film you had all three of them. Second one you had Jeff Goldblum, and then the third one you had God, the guy from New Zealand. His name's just slipped my mind.
Sam Neill.
Sam Neill, thanks. Is Laura Dern in the third one?
Yeah, but for like 5 seconds.
The only thing I really remember in the third one is when he has the dream and the Velociraptor's on the plane and it speaks to him. It says, Alan. It is literally the only thing I can remember from that movie. And is William H. Macy in it?
Yes.
Or is that the second one?
He's in the third one.
The third one. Right. So yeah, I don't really remember the third one much. But like I remember the first one and the second one very fondly. And the first one, I'm a huge Laura Dern fan. I'm a big fan of Laura Dern. I hated her in Jurassic World Dominion. It was like watching someone who had never acted before, and I'm like, I feel like she hasn't done the job in a while. I felt the same about Sam Neill as well. I didn't feel the same chemistry that they had in the original movie. I think Jeff Goldblum, as much as I love him, he's never hit the same highs as, Cronenberg's The Fly or Jurassic Park. Those performances really sort of set him apart from all other actors in a Christopher Walken kind of way. And now, since he was in that Thor movie, I just feel that everything he does since he's gotten older is a bit of a caricature of Jeff Goldblum. Doesn't really feel like Jeff to me. Chris Pratt, he's all right, I guess. I hated the whole fucking, I gotta save a baby dinosaur for a dinosaur that might eat me. That whole bollocks was bollocks. The bit I mean?
Speaking back to Laura Dern, I had a big problem when she first showed up at the beginning of the film, because she is just spewing out like exposition. And it just felt so like, oh, come on. Like, I have somewhat of a brain. Like, please just word it in a way that sounds a bit more normal. But I will say, defending her, have you seen Marriage Story?
I have. It's actually really good.
Yeah, she's actually quite good in it. I quite liked her in that.
I think Marriage Story is excellent. And Adam Driver really impressed me in that. I quite like Adam Driver. He's grown on me big time. I didn't really love him in Star Wars, but he's grown on me since. But the thing with Laura Dern, like as a fan of her, like I love her in Wild at Heart, but my God, I really struggled with the legacy characters in this new Jurassic World film, because it also feels like a cheap stab at nostalgia as well. Nostalgia is great, but if there's no good, writing to back it up, then it's literally just nostalgia for the sake of nostalgia. I think there should be good writing there to back it up. Grab. Yeah, exactly. Also, I seem to recall that they show the can with all the dino DNA from the original movie. They show it right. For me, you could make an entire fucking movie out of that. It could be a whole plot. in of itself, someone finding that and then doing the dinosaur shit again. Maybe you do a whole trilogy doing the dinosaur shit, you kill it, you say, right, we're never doing the dinosaur shit again, and then someone gets that thing.
Yeah.
Surely that should have been the start of this current trilogy.
Speaking of, now we're really getting into it. Now we're fucking this film up.
Yeah, I hated this film.
I,
Remember
I,
either
what,
because I hated it so much.
sorry. I was just also thinking about how much it keeps trying to replicate itself. And like, I
Yeah.
just felt like several times I was watching this film, it feels like this happened in the previous other, or one of the other films from before. There was at least one bit where the car was stuck on a cliff, I think, and
Yeah.
there's a T-Rex, I think. And in all of these last three movies, there has to be a fucking T-Rex that saves the day. And it's like,
Yep.
come on, man, why? And like, I was
Yeah.
even watching this with my daughter and my wife, and I was just pissing them off. But the film can't end until the T-Rex comes and fights the bigger, newer dinosaur, and then
Yep.
it look like he loses, then he wins, and then they're gonna get away. And like, yeah, it has to follow that formula every
Well,
time. It's a bit like, come
well,
on,
the thing is,
really?
it's sort of like Avengers logic, isn't it? It's the same sort of logic of the Marvel films. You've got to see a particular fight before the film can finish, you know. But I suppose it's a trope that was started by the original Jurassic Park, where the T-Rex just sort of comes out of nowhere and eats the raptors. So
Yeah,
it is born of the first one, but the first one, like, it's so good. And I don't think we'd seen that before either. Because you could definitely make the argument, how the fuck did no one see the T-Rex until the very last moment?
yeah.
You could
He
totally make
decided.
that argument. However, it just hits, like, maybe because we'd never seen it been done before or whatever, but that first Jurassic Park movie, it hits so good, man. It really hits so good. I've got to ask then, so like, we're going to go over this 5 minutes for sure, but
Way
uh
over.
but what's your what did you think of the other Jurassic World movies?
Well, so the see, if you get over how
How not?
ridiculous and annoying everyone
Yeah.
is in the first movie. No, no, I can't say that because then I start thinking about how they were going to genetically modify dinosaurs, and I just think, oh my God, I can't defend
I
that.
mean,
This is just getting too
yeah.
stupid.
I mean,
Um,
look, it's a ridiculous concept. However, there's a lot of love for the IP of Jurassic Park.
yeah,
And, you know, let's not forget Spielberg made the first two.
I
And
was going to
I think,
mention him actually.
well, I think even Spielberg would say that he phoned in a little bit uh, on the second one, because the second one, he had other plans for the climax of the film. And it was, I think, having as much as I love seeing the T-Rex walking around America, like modern America, um, that wasn't how he had originally envisioned ending it. I'm not sure what his original vision was, but I know that there was a lot of studio interference with the second one, and he
Hmm.
didn't get to make the movie that he wanted. But I think the first one is so it's brilliant. The first one is absolutely brilliant, and you know, I still think that the raptors in that sequence in the first one, where the kids are hiding in the kitchen and the raptors are like behind them and like they're trying to get away, I think that sequence is not only terrifying, but it's also some of the most realistic dinosaur effects I've seen in any of these Jurassic Park movies. And it's in
Yeah,
the first one. The first one. I mean, it's sort of mind blowing to me that CGI, like, it's come leaps and bounds. But the more it comes leaps and bounds, the more it looks computer generated to me. It doesn't look like most of these CGI creatures or characters, they just don't have weight in a scene. And you
hmm.
can see that they don't, and you can get past it as a viewer. I believe you, as an audience, you can get past it. However, when you compare it side by side to the original film, I think it's night and day. Personally, I think the dinosaurs look really real in the original one, which is fucking mental. Not the
I know.
Brontosaurus shot. The Brontosaurus shot doesn't hold up, but the T Rex absolutely holds up. and the raptors definitely hold up. Definitely.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? But anyway,
Yeah.
I think we should stop talking about Jurassic Park now because it's time for you to unleash your hate. Although I think you've also
Right.
unleashed a bit of hate here
I
on
actually
Jurassic
have,
Park.
funnily enough, I have more hate for Jurassic World Dominion than I do for the thing I'm about to talk about, if I'm perfectly honest. But okay, so what I want to talk about,
I'm going to start the timer.
all right, start the
Go.
timer. So what I want to talk about is Cobra Kai. Now, have you? I think you might have watched a bit of it. Am I right?
I know the original film, but I haven't watched the
Right.
TV series.
All right. Well, brief summary for those who might not know. Cobra Kai is a TV show. It's a sequel to the Karate Kid franchise from the 90s,
I think it
80s.
might be 80s
I
actually.
think it's the 80s. The original Karate Kid was directed by the guy who directed the original Rocky as well. Just a little bit of trivia there. So anyway, Cobra Kai frames itself completely differently. So the original movie, you've got Daniel LaRusso, the Karate Kid, and he wants to win the girl at high school, and there's a high school bully. But Cobra Kai turns it on its head, and we actually follow the bad guy from the movie, and we see from his perspective, he was just a guy at high school, a bit obnoxious. He had a girlfriend, and then the new kid showed up, tried to steal his girl. So what would anyone do? He tried to beat him up, So from his perspective, he wasn't the bad guy. But obviously, for years, he was the bad guy in the Karate Kid. Now he's the most identifiable character in Cobra Kai. I actually really like the first 2 seasons of Cobra Kai. It's cheesy, but it's cheesy and respecting the nostalgia, but it's also well written as well. It does a lot of turning things on its head. You think that the bad guys are Cobra Kai and the good guys will be Miyagi-Do. And then they very often swap sides and stuff. They're, wherever they are in their head really informs what they do. Like there was a lot of really good character writing in the first couple of seasons. However, in season 3 and season 4, I would argue things took a slight downward turn since it, got picked up by Netflix, but not such a downward turn that you have to stop watching it. Still enjoyable, cheesy as fuck, really good fight scenes throughout all of the seasons. Really, really good fight scenes. However, not too long ago, season 5 dropped, and I've been really excited to watch season 5. And I've got nothing but complaints. Because I really, really enjoyed the show so far, and right now I feel like it's devolved into just something painful and boring to watch. It leans even more on the cheesy. It leans even more on characters sort of changing their minds. So now it doesn't really feel like character development. It feels more like just characters randomly changing their minds.
I really hate that.
Yeah, at first it was well written, but now they do it so often that it stopped being clever writing. And it used to be clever writing, but now it's just, because there was the bad guy from season 3 and season 4, like the main bad guy from season 3 and season 4, who's also probably what you would call the main antagonist from the original Karate Kid and Karate Kid 3. This karate sensei, Kreese. In this new season, even after everything we've seen him do, they're now trying to frame him as sympathetic and he's not so bad. And I'm like, no, you can't just suddenly do that. Just because they framed him doesn't mean you can suddenly make him a good guy. That's not how this works. He's been a dickhead ever since the 80s. Don't tell me all of a sudden that he's a nice guy, or don't tell me that we need to relate or identify with him now. No, he's the guy that we're all angry with. I don't want him to be a good guy. I want him to stay a bad guy. There are characters that I fucking hate. The daughter is really terribly written, and I also think she's terribly performed. Find her so annoying. The 2 characters that maintain being the best characters is Johnny, who was the bad guy from the first Karate Kid, and also his stepson, who is also learning karate. He's really good. In season 2, he has a really brutal ending to the season, and season 3 is all about him getting back to normal. Really, really good character. I love him a lot. And then this season, we have Terry Silver, who's the bad guy of this season. He's also the bad guy from Karate Kid 3. Well, like, not the main bad guy, but a integral bad guy.
You've
but
got
now
10 seconds, by the way.
10 seconds. All right, cool. So when we were introduced to him in season 4, he's a fucking hippie. He's all about Zen. He's made money. He doesn't want to go back to the way he was. Now he's the biggest bad guy of all. And it's like, what? You can't keep fucking changing on a fucking dime. It's so fucking annoying. Like, honestly, Craig, when you meet this character, he is so chill and so Zen. And now he is such an asshole now. And you're like, whoa, where did this guy come from? Like, fuck me. It's all Cobra Kai's fault. Also, the fight choreography has gotten worse this season. I think the fights are nowhere near as good. And Daniel LaRusso, the main character from the original 3 Karate Kid movies, he's back in all of Cobra Kai. I don't like his character. He's shit. I never liked him in Karate Kid. I don't like him now. They also introduced a great character who was the bad guy from the second Karate Kid movie, but he's a good guy in this, and I kind of like him, but I also think he's shit. Like, he's kind of cool, but he's not cool. And I think it would have been so much better if he just stayed the same character, just, a little bit less intense or something like that. All right, so I've gone over maybe a minute, but there you go. I'm done with Cobra Kai. I don't think I'm strapped in for a 6th season either. I think I'm done watching Cobra Kai. And it's a shame because I really like it.
I think if we do this again, we should definitely extend the hate time to at least 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I have a few thoughts on that show, by the way.
Go on, let me hear
it. So I haven't seen it so far, but I did see a meme yesterday. It said it had a caption of the show. I guess maybe it's from the opening credits. And it says when 2 middle-aged dads accidentally start a gang war or something like that.
But that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what's going on. You've got a fucking car salesman and an unemployed dude, and they're literally just throwing children at each other and fighting. And that's the whole show for the first 2 seasons. It's fucking great. And then when they start bringing in what I would call the legacy characters, bringing in more characters from the original show, it just starts getting a bit too scattered, I think. But they do introduce new characters that you can fall in love with and whatnot. But again, it's just so all over the place and so scattered. And also the climax of this latest season where they sort of defeat Terry Silver is literally just turning YouTube on. That's the whole plan. It's just, just turn YouTube on so everyone can see. And that's the whole fucking plan. And I'm like, it works, I guess, in the context of the story, but it's just so anticlimactic.
And you know what? I'm really happy you mentioned this about characters changing sides, because this really annoys me.
Yeah.
So before I was watching Succession, I was watching a show called Billions, and Billions was really good for the first couple of seasons. And it's about a billionaire guy and some DOJ, what do they call it? District judge, attorney guy, something. Yeah. And basically, they're trying to it's cat and mouse kind of thing. They're always trying to fuck each other over. And it was really good the first 2 seasons. But then, I think it was the 3rd or 4th season, there was just too many alliances changing. Yeah. And it was one character, the billionaire character. The cast is really good, by the way, but it's just a shame it happened this way.
I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, but then it's shit now. I actually stopped. It was a point I just stopped watching it. It's like, no, you cannot do that. Where the Axelrod, who's the billionaire guy, is on the phone talking to the other main character's father, who's now on his side, and he says to him, "My worst enemies are planning against me." I said, no, you can't say that to your worst enemy on the phone who's now on your side, that these guys are now your worst enemy. It's just too much. And I'm just like, no, stop. And I just stopped watching
This is it. The problem is character development is solely dependent on audience perception. If the audience likes a character, then the writers make them a good guy. And it's so... sometimes it works. We know... like the first season of Breaking Bad, Vince Gilligan had actually planned to kill Jesse Pinkman off, but because people loved him so much, they were like, no, we'll keep him as a recurring character. But that's different. Like that's changing the story to benefit, what the audience likes. But when it comes to like as I say, surely you enjoy more seeing the relationship between these two people being enemies rather, just because the audience likes them all doesn't mean they should turn into a good guy. I mean, I haven't watched much Walking Dead, but I've heard that the Keegan character, the dude with the baseball bat, I've never seen an episode with him in, but he apparently, because people like him, they've turned him into a good guy, and people are like, yeah, we like him, but the first time we met him, he was as brutal as they come. How could you forgive him for all the things we've known him to do and be capable of? And suddenly he's a good guy. I agree.
Sorry. I have a worse example. In The Lost, they had a really ridiculous character who changed. It was called Ben, and he's one of the people that was originally on the island when the plane crashes. And he is really fucking evil guy. He is also really scary. Like when you first meet him, he's brilliantly done, like very creepy guy. And over the time, we eventually learn more about him, and we learn that at one point there was another group of people living on the island, and he basically exterminated them and threw them in a fucking hole in the ground. And then later in the show, yeah, they try to make you like him and feel sympathy for him. Oh, he might die. Like, man, he's a fucking mass murderer, man.
Yeah.
How can you make me want to feel sympathy for this guy? It just doesn't feel normal. How can we do that?
They do it all the time, man. I mean, fuck, even the Marvel movies are doing it with Loki. Like, you get a bad guy that people like, they'll just turn him into a good guy. I'm surprised Thanos isn't on the Avengers by now. Do you know what I mean? No, but it's true. It's true. It's such an overused thing, and it's solely down to people liking a character, which I think that's fine. I think giving the audience what they want is worth doing, but it's got to be done well. You've got to write it well. It can't just come out of the blue. And I think certainly a lot of Cobra Kai comes out of the blue, but the first few seasons, I think they earn it. I've also heard Game of Thrones suffers with that as well. But as I say, you as long as the story doesn't suffer, as long as the character doesn't suffer, you can do these things, but you have to earn it. It can't just be out of the blue. And so many of these things just do it, and you're like, come on. Like I say, I don't think we're saying characters can't change. I don't think we're saying that. We're just saying it just can't come out of the blue. Otherwise, it's bad writing.
100%.
Yeah. All right, dude. Well, I think we're pretty much down to the end of it. I think it's a pretty nice little structure. I think we should do this again.
We should. It was very fun. But do you want to do the last bit, which is what you want to see more of as well?
Okay. Yeah. I'd forgotten about that. So I guess you should start.
Have you got something in your head?
I haven't.
No.
But we could. But you could start, and then maybe I disagree with you, or if I have something new to add, I will.
I should have done something more controversial then. Okay, I'm starting my 5 minutes. So I've been watching. Actually, my brother recommended this. Severance. Have you heard of this?
I have heard of it, and actually recently, someone was mentioning it, and I thought it was a Danny Dyer film, and they were like, "No, it's a TV show."
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, all right.
So basically, the idea is that you get this chip implanted into your head, and your memories, basically your whole identity, when you go to work, is separate from your home, like when you're out of work, basically. So you go to work, you don't know anything that you do at work, and then when you come back, it just separates the two, and that's the idea of separate. That's what severance is even about. This word severance means when you sever your personalities, basically. I'll tell you, I'll be honest, when I watched the first episode, I didn't want to watch the second for a while because I felt it was a bit depressing. Because basically the main character, who's played by Adam Scott, I don't know if you know him. He's in Step Brothers. He's the bastard, annoying younger brother.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's in Krampus.
He's in a lot of things. He's mostly does comedy
Yeah.
stuff. This is the first time I really see him do something kind of seriously.
Hmm.
He's funny still, but like he's not too in your
I like
face
him.
trying to make you laugh. Yeah.
I like him.
Uh, and it was he plays the main character, and we also have a really good cast, by the way. We also have John Turturro, if that's how you pronounce his name,
Hmm.
and Christopher Walken is also in it.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, there we go.
Wow.
And I think they're leading to the. I haven't seen the whole season yet, which is why it's on my want to
Right.
see more of list. I think there's supposed to be a kind of romance between Christopher Walken and John Turturro. I think the idea
Ooh,
is that
saucy.
I think that they are together in the real world, but when they come to the office, they don't know each other. So then now they're
Yeah.
kind of falling in love again. It's quite strange. But the show is really weird in general because
I'll
the
give it a
guys don't know
watch.
what they're doing. They're just on these computers and they have to group numbers based on how they feel about them. And they don't know what that actually does in the real world. It could be anything. And how legal is it? Like, why do they need to not know what they're doing in the real world? And so basically, the main character, played by Adam Scott, yeah, his wife died a few years ago. So he's using this method of separating himself from work and himself to get over his wife, which I think is kind of a flawed strategy, by the way. I don't think that would really
Right. Well,
work because
it's sort of like Eternal Sunshine, right? That's what it sounded like to me.
not as indie and lovey-dovey. There's none
All
of
right.
that. It's just more weirdness, and there is kind of a feeling of that there might be a revolt of some kind at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And there's even a story that one of the departments who had this severance thing started a rebellion and started killing people in another department. It's all this kind of weird talk.
I'll definitely
Uh,
have to watch this.
yeah, it's really good. It's very funny. There's also another guy in it called Zach Cherry, and it's funny seeing him in the show because I've seen him. He keeps popping up in things I'm watching now. He was in the show with Pete Holmes, where he's a comedian, building like it's called Crashing, and then he was also in Succession. Funny enough,
I like
uh,
Crashing.
yeah. Oh, you watched that? It's very good.
The one
Um,
by Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
no, it's an American show about a comedian trying to get
Oh.
his career started. Um, anyway, yeah, he's really good in it. And also, funny enough, another actress, I forgot her name, something Dickman or something. Lachan Dickman, I think is her name. She's Australian. She plays the therapist in this, and she's also in Jurassic Park Dominion as one of these smuggler types. It's strange how that happens. But yeah,
Interesting cast.
um, I'm really liking it so far. Patricia Arquette is also in it. I've never really watched her in anything before.
Oh,
Really
dude,
good cast.
you got to watch the third Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I think that was her big break.
Maybe I need to watch them. Yeah, I haven't really seen them. But yeah,
Oh,
that's the thing I want to see more of. I want to see more. Oh, by the way, also, Ben Stiller directs it, but not all the
wow.
episodes. Yeah,
Ooh, okay, I'm in. I want to watch this. I'm
yeah,
sold.
it's good. It's good. It's at least 9 episodes, the first season. I don't know if there'll be
All
a
right,
second.
all right, cool. I'm in. I'm strapped in. I'm going to give it a go. But I do think we should watch a Nightmare on Elm Street for the podcast
I do.
since you
Yeah,
haven't
maybe
seen
we
it.
should. We actually maybe should do some more horror. We haven't actually done a horror film yet, I
Yeah, I
think.
don't think we have. Yeah, let's do some horror. That's like an obvious one to do. Let's do some horror. All right.
Okay, that's a deal. All
All
right.
right.
Have you got anything that you can convince me to watch in 5 minutes?
I'm not going to convince you to watch anything. I'm just going to say something I want to see more of.
Yeah, go on.
Uh,
I'm giving you
and
5 minutes now.
okay, so yeah, I'm going to talk slowly because I don't need the 5 minutes. Excuse me. So, news broke recently that the Joker is going to get a sequel, and they have announced that they've not only cast Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, but it's going to be a musical. And people hate this idea. I think this could be genius. I really do. And I think we should see more sort of genre bending stuff in films that certainly in films that we expect a certain thing, like the superhero or the comic book movies. I think it is nice to get like a fresh take. You know, I think WandaVision did really well for the first couple of episodes until they became another Marvel movie. But like a lot of these superhero things that try and do something a little bit different end up being really successful. So I think it's worth experimenting. And this Joker musical with a Lady Gaga Harley Quinn sounds quite interesting to me. I'm pretty sold on this as a concept. And a lot of people don't like this idea, but I think it could actually be maybe the best fucking Joker movie we've ever seen.
I actually 100% agree with you. I'm really interested in this. I really want to see what it'll be like. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it could be terrible, but like, yeah, it could be amazing, man. It could be fucking amazing.
It could be really fun. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, of course, it's going to be tongue in cheek.
But you know, the Joker needs some insanity, though, doesn't he? He needs to be a bit loopy. He needs. I mean, think of it this way: whenever we see the Joker in a film, it's a Batman film. We're seeing everything from Batman's perspective, really, basically, right? And now we get to see what's really going on inside that crazy head. And like, for the Joker, it's not going to be the same. It's going to be something really, I don't know, something completely bizarre. So I'm totally up for it. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I just think it'd be interesting. I think it'd be really interesting. It could flop. It could. I'm not saying it's a perfect idea, but I think it's unique enough that I'm really interested in what they're going to do. Really interested. But people have turned off already. People are already saying, no, I'm not watching that. And I'm like, well, I mean, give it a chance. It might be another RRR. You know, it might be fucking amazing. Give it a chance. I quite liked the first Joker film. I do think it's you know, it's definitely ripping off a better movie in King of Comedy. I think I recommended you King of Comedy back at uni.
No, I'd already seen it. I think I saw that a long time ago.
Well, it's a great film. It's fucking great, and I think it's an unsung Scorsese De Niro collab. However, since the Joker, it's not unsung. People are now sort of turning on to King of Comedy. But a lot of people say that it's based on Taxi Driver. And I'm like, well, tonally, I guess. And there's a couple of references in there. But I think they are really only going for King of Comedy. Certainly in the tone, certainly in the story, and certainly in character. I think it's very King of Comedy. And I don't think it's very Taxi Driver, besides him shooting himself with his fingers, because he does do that in Taxi Driver. But I really did enjoy the first Joker film. I thought it was surprisingly good, although not perfect. There are still things I thought were a bit world breaking and a bit naff, like just guys randomly being cruel to a guy dressed as a clown spinning a sign, and then literally make him chase them so they can. It's so cheesy. This sort of bullying. Get him.
Kick him.
And then, like, on the train when he shoots everyone, like, why does this guy know all the lyrics to this song? No one knows all the lyrics to Welcome in the Clowns. That's the only lyric anyone knows. How does this guy know the whole? Like I say, there are so many little bits that I just find a bit world breaking. But overall, I really liked it. I think Joaquin Phoenix is great in it. And I'm really looking forward to a sort of genre bending sequel. I think it could be really cool.
The way you said his name was like, it sounded like you said Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix. Hock the Queen Phoenix. Joaquin. How do we say it? Joaquin. Joaquin. Do you think he deserved the Oscar before we should sign off? Do you think he deserved the Oscar for Joker? I don't think so.
Did he win an Oscar for that?
He won Best Actor.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. I don't really watch it. I used to watch this stuff before, but now I never watch it. I didn't know that.
I think even the Joker was nominated for Best Film. Certainly got nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. Pretty sure. Yeah, no, Joker got a lot of award buzz that year. However, like, does he deserve the Oscar? I mean, look, it's a good performance. It's a very good performance. And I'd have to remind myself of the other performances of the year.
I really liked it. It didn't seem like something that they would pick up, to be honest. But
No, no.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I can't think of all the films from that year. It's always funny though. Whenever I hear Todd Phillips, him and Judd Apatow, these
Yeah.
two directors, I'm like, are they the same human being? I don't know.
We,
I
again, I don't really hate on Judd Apatow. I think he's done a few really good films. I mean, he got some Oscar nods for that new one with Leo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence, and people were saying, "Oh, it's not deserved," and maybe not for an Oscar. However, I do think there's a few films he's made where I'm like, I think this is a quality little film. Didn't he do the Adam Sandler movie Funny Games or Funny People about
I'm
Adam
not
Sandler
sure.
stand up?
I'm not
It's
sure,
very,
but
it's very
speaking of
good.
stand up, Judd Apatow, I think, was involved in Crashing, that show I was telling you about a second ago about a comedian,
Oh,
which is
really?
really good. Yeah,
I
I
will have
think
to give it
so.
a watch. All right, do you want to call it time? We're about to hit an
Yes,
hour. All
yes.
right.
Let's call it time. This was fun. I think we should definitely do this again. I don't know.
Yeah,
You
I
let me
do
know.
actually. Yeah, I'm definitely down for this. This is quite a fun little format.
Yeah,
Maybe once a month. I think that's a good one.
yeah. It'll be our monthly thing. This will be our. Well, let's see when we get it out. It should be for September, but who knows how long.
Who knows? I will. I
Yeah.
will say. I think for the next one, I'm already going to give you a spoiler. I'm going to talk about She-Hulk for the next one, but I don't because I've been watching it. I've got so much to talk about, but it's not finished yet, so I didn't want to use it up for this episode. So I
You
think
know what?
next She-Hulk.
Yeah, I might bring up the Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones because I think that they're actually pretty good, and I'll tell you more about that. But when we get
I
to it,
have not watched one yet. I have not watched them yet.
well,
Obviously,
you
I've
have to
watched.
wait. You should
All
wait
right.
till I tell you about it.
Okay, I can do that. I can do that because I'm not really that bothered anyway. So yeah, I can
Yeah,
do that. I don't want to watch the Game of Thrones one. I'll watch the Lord of the Rings one, but not the Game of Thrones one.
it's
I
pretty
I,
fun.
was, I have zero interest in Game of Thrones. I tried.
Fair
I
play.
watched 4 seasons of it. You remember? I watched 4 seasons of it. Still didn't get to it. Still didn't like
Yeah,
it. All right. So I don't want to. I don't want to hate on Game of Thrones too much because that's enough. That's grounds enough for people to never listen to us again.
you're gonna get punched in the face when you go walk on the street.
It's all right. Look, listeners, I'll just ask Craig to punch me in the face on your behalf. Please don't approach me in the street and punch me. That would be horrible. All right, let's call it time, Craig.
Yeah,
That was fun. I love you to pieces,
love you
and
too,
I
man.
hope everyone enjoyed listening to us chatting shit once more.
Fantastic. Yeah, yeah. A lot of hate in the middle, but also
A lot.
a lot of love there too in between. All
All
right,
right.
man. Shall we say the catchphrase that we occasionally say at the end?
Well, keep it knees
Keep it
because
knees.
you always mishear me. So yeah, keep it knees is the catchphrase of the podcast. Such a weird fucking catchphrase, but it is it.
Yeah. It's just
All
me
right.
mishearing him say keep it movies. But I think keep it
Yeah.
knees is better than keep it
It is.
movies. So
It's definitely better. It's definitely better. I love it. I love it. I'm really grown. It's really grown on me. All right, guys. Until next time,
keep
keep it
it
knees.
knees.